Okay, day 12, meal number 1 here. I'm at the diner, my favorite diner. I'm here with my friend Rick Busch. How you doing, Rick? Want to say hi to my friends?
Sure.
Here's Rick Busch.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Rick's an expert in real estate. He's an expert in construction. He knows all this stuff, and I'm here with Rick partly because I'm in a very interesting kind of situation with my trading in the stock market, which is part of what I do. I was talking last night about the things I do. Like, I teach Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. I'm a clinician, so I help people. I trade in the stock market, and I do something else that I can't even remember what it is. There's some other thing that I do. I wish I could remember what it is. Okay, so here it is. Egg white omelet, veggie omelet, no cheese. First plan, I'm going to cut this thing in half, literally. That's the hardest thing I did so far today. That's it, Rick. Cutting that thing in half. Like, I'm reducing my portion size. I'm going to eat this in 2 to 3 hours. Exactly, right? So there you have it. Nutrient rich I got extra spinach in it, like I splurged. Now, I have zero cravings whatsoever. You'd think I would. Like I was saying yesterday, I got the biggest butt kicking I've gotten in the stock market in a while. And I committed to this process of sharing everything that I am putting in my mouth. And part of the process here that has really been important is that I'm including in this concept of diet, I'm including the thoughts that we think. So the food we ingest, the water we drink, but I'm saying the thoughts that we choose to think and the thoughts that we accidentally think because we weren't paying attention are part of our diet. Now, Rick, that's a new idea here, maybe. What are your thoughts about that? The thoughts that we are thinking are part of our diet. Are you?
I think that's one of the smartest things I've heard in a long time, and I think it's 100% true, is that you're nourishing your body with food, you're nourishing your brain with your thoughts, and if you're ingesting bad thoughts, you're going to just export bad thoughts. So I'm one of the smartest things I've heard in a long time.
What goes in is going to be what comes out, maybe.
Absolutely.
Okay, you heard it right there from Rick Busch. So, here's the thing. So I know, Rick, you do a lot of real estate. You do construction. You know a lot about investments. We're talking a little bit about the very interesting thing I got to kind of work with, which is kind of like, whoa, I got to overextend it in overstock.com, right? I just got too big in overstock.com, and it's brought on a little bit of suffering for me. Now, one of the things that I'm curious about, like in the world of real estate, in the world of investments, in the world of construction, like kind of like you've seen people get overextended before.
Yes.
Okay, and partly I'm realizing right now where we're sitting here, I got overextended on cheese pizza, I got overextended on cheeseburgers, and I got overextended on French fries, mainly, I think, because it's convenient. For a guy that teaches mindfulness-based stress reduction, I gotta tell you, I got a lot of stress too. It's not like I'm not sitting under a tree all day, like hugging trees, like yoga style. You know what I mean? It's like I'm living life like everybody else. And it seems like these comfort foods have affected my blood sugar, And so I'm using food as a medicine. I'm also looking carefully at kind of watching my flow of thoughts. I'm looking at my impulses, like trying to be really understanding and clear and open to feeling my actual impulses, but also making space so I'm not going with the first thought. That I'm actually going with maybe a thought that I can choose more purposefully. Instead of just, I feel an impulse to go get a cheeseburger, that impulse might be not about the cheeseburger, but more about maybe my body needs some fat to function better. So I'll lean into a decision about like maybe a piece of salmon or even fish oil is a choice that would be on the side of helping my body balance. Our bodies are always coming to a state of balance. Our minds are always coming to a state of balance. And the question, do we line up with it or do we line up against it? And so I'm just curious, like, in real estate, okay, the idea, do you ever see anybody get overextended in real estate? Do you ever see anybody get overextended like I'm saying I got overextended on pizzas, cheeseburgers, and French fries, and I'm coming back to balance by making greater decisions? I'm just curious, your thoughts about this. live right here from Rick Busch. He's hearing this for the first time along with you and me.
So that's a little bit of pressure to come up with a good answer on the spot. But let me tell you,
I put Rick Busch under a lot of pressure. It's so stressful being around me.
so being overextended is something that everybody does all the time. We move in directions that create self-fulfilling prophecies. So we're happy to ingest a hamburger because it tastes good and it feels good to eat it. In life, everybody says everything in moderation. Well, ultimately, as you progress through your life on a day-to-day basis, you need to be making those conscious decisions, and you can't go with your first choice. You actually have to make calculated, planned decisions that take into consideration what's my today, what's my tomorrow, what's my next week, what's my next month going to be. So if you say, hey, I can eat this hamburger today, not a problem, but tomorrow I'm going to have fish, and the next day I'm going to have salad. When you invest in real estate or when you invest in the stock market, it's the same exact concept. You have to make calculated decisions based on your financial position at the time. What is your risk tolerance? How much can you afford to lose? How much can you, how much stress can you handle if you've extended yourself? My attitude and what I talk to a lot of people about is what I say, get rich slow, right? So in life, you don't want to ever be overextended. You always want to do what's within your comfort zone, and you want to just move along in a methodical, well thought out, disciplined investment strategy that helps you to move up a ladder of success at a level that doesn't produce negative thoughts, that doesn't produce that stress that you were talking about earlier. Because when you start to include negative thoughts, oh my God, I'm risking too much, and it permeates all aspects of your life. It can create a sense of lack of control, and you're going to chase things that are not real. Instead of having a calm, happy, peaceful existence, you're going to be chasing. When you're overextended, you're out of your comfort zone. You're out of what you're supposed to be doing and into something that's not what you're supposed to be doing. Risk is important because without risk, there's no reward. But you need to have calculated risk based on what your level of comfort that does not produce negative thoughts. It's extremely difficult concept for a lot of people because everybody wants to get rich now. Everybody wants to make the money and become independent. But life is not the end result. Life is the journey. And that sounds cliche, but it's really the journey, the process of going from day to day that you need to have peace and that you need to be happy with who you are and how you feel every minute, every moment of the day. So hopefully that helped.
I totally love this. I think I've never heard anybody articulate this in this way, like getting wealthy slow and purposefully.
Yeah.
I almost say you and I should write a book together on this topic.
I'd be psyched to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, for real? All right. So you heard it here first. Jim Hughes, Rick Busch. We're going to write a book on how to get wealthy, like the fast and easy, slow way. Okay. Because I think there's something about this that's super important. And it also, I'm going to check this out. Remember my friends I told you about, Sven and Gertrude. You have not. Have you met them? You haven't. Rick has not met them. Some are starting to tell me that these are people that maybe only I see, but I always see them at the grocery store. Sven and Gertrude are 40,000 years old. They're caveman and cavewoman, right? And so they were talking the other day. Sven and Gertrude were like, "Hey, listen, when we're caveman days and cavewoman days, we worked before we ate. It wouldn't be unusual for them to be kind of walking a long distance up and down hills working, and then finally they catch something. And in some cases what they caught was like something that couldn't run, like they saw some mushrooms and they picked them, right? And or sometimes it's stuff that runs, and they always want to bring in some kind of a mammoth, or but it's probably like a squirrel or a mouse. You come back like a bunch of mice like that, right? And it goes in the tribal cauldron, this giant pot of soup that we're making right now. And so I think Sven and Gertrude would be 2 thumbs up on the developing wealth caveman style. like
The paleo diet for investing.
the paleo diet
investment
for
diet.
investing. You heard it right there from Rick Busch. Rick Busch just invented the paleo diet for investing. Maybe that could be the book. Seriously.
Could be.
Right. So, okay, Rick and I are going to start working on it as soon as we get done eating. As soon as I get done eating this. Rick saved,
Don't show my
don't
lunch.
show. Rick saved 4 parts of his French toast. Listen, if you're eating, if you're watching this, you are eating this way, okay? Try not to give your friends a hard time about the crazy stuff they order. You know, it'd be all like, you can't eat stuff with sugar. Are you kidding me? It's gonna turn syrup turns to sugar like so fast. It turns as fast as sugar does, and broccoli turns to sugar slowly. Right? Try not to torture your friends. You saw last night. I did not torture my kids. I'm letting them eat the way that they are enjoying eating. But you saw they were eating that epic soup, right? Okay, so this is it for now, day 12, meal number 1. And I do want to say, for me, the best part of this meal is the feeling of connection with my friend Rick. It looks like in the connection that we just crafted possibly a new book. Rick came up with a new idea, the paleo diet for investing, which is a fascinating idea to me. And so anyways, I'll see you in 3 to 4 hours.